There's an attempt by Republican members of Congress right now, I hope it becomes bipartisan, to strengthen the Taylor Force Act.
The original intent of the bill that was signed by President Trump was to stop U.S. humanitarian aid going to the Palestinian Authority as long as they were doing these pay-to-slay programs. The problem with that is that money is fungible. And as you said, they figured ways to get around this. So what we want to do is make it considerably stronger. And what we're going to do is focus on the banking system. This provides additional authority to designate foreign banks who are involved in money laundering and forbid them from holding or using any type of correspondent accounts in the United States if they're involved with martyr payments to terrorists or if they knowingly provide financial services to Hamas, which is, as you know, a proxy group for Iran.
This terrorist that killed Taylor Force was killed by Israeli police, but then was hailed as a national hero and given a huge funeral. His family to this day still receives payments. And like you said, you wonder, there's a fine line between supporting Palestinians in peace and supporting terrorism. And I was disappointed when President Biden reopened the PLO mission in Washington, D.C. But going forward with this, do you think you'll have bipartisan support on this bill?
What's happened here in Washington is that we have these extreme voices coming out on I think it's a minority group in the Democrat Party, but they are basically given the image that they support this terror that's being conducted by the Palestinian Authority, and the media are amplifying that. The truth of the matter is that I cannot imagine my Democrat colleagues, for the most part, condone this, and I hope we'll get to a bipartisan place again, but the noise and the rhetoric has gotten to a fever pitch, and the Biden administration seems to want to push in that direction, again, in the direction of supporting the Palestinian Authority as they conduct terrorist activities.
The Taylor Force Act and the strengthening of the Taylor Force Act that Congress wants to do, that is something that we all need to get behind and make sure doesn't remain a partisan issue, that it goes and becomes the bipartisan issue that it was before, and the support should be there. It's just to strengthen the law, because when you pass laws to put in restrictions on funding, the bad actors find out ways to work around those laws, so those pay-for-slave programs. So you've got to add more teeth in going after the banking industry so that they've got to think twice before allowing one of these payments to go through, or know that if they do, they'll be kicked out of the U.S. financial system. Basically, their bank will be shut down. An ACLJ victory for a student in Wyoming. Abby, we were contacted by this student. Tell people initially what happened.
Contacted by a student in Wyoming. She's a college student at a public college there. And she had enrolled in an English lit class and had decided to write about the historical figure of Jesus, which was within the confines of the assignment given. However, shortly after submitting her first essay, she was given a 0 on the essay.
What was the professor's response to why she got a 0?
We don't want to hear about abortion. I don't want fantasy or fiction. And I don't want to read about your religious beliefs. But this was different. She was writing about the historical, non-fictional character of Jesus, not about her personal religious beliefs.
There's not a real discussion about whether he existed, and so there's a lot to write about there. There's authors who are not Christians who have written books on the life of Jesus and pointed to where it marks in history. So she contacts us. They put those parameters on it, trying to. I'm sure for that student, it's maybe a little confusing, and then we help kind of clear the way, tell people how we got this handled.
She addressed it immediately with her professor and apparently with her supervisor, the supervisor of the program. They had mentioned their belief that there was academic freedom for the teacher there. And so what we explained for this student, we provided her with an informational memorandum that explained what her rights as a student are, which is academic freedom. And the freedom to write about a topic such as Jesus, so long as it's within the confines of the assignment, and here it was. So we armed her with the information that she needed to know that she could advocate for herself and for her rights, and she chose to do so. We offered to help further, but she was able to schedule a meeting with her supervisor again, talk through the matter, and they actually did agree to allow her to proceed with her essay on Jesus.
How crazy is this double standard? Because I just have no doubt that if this student was writing about, Joseph Smith or even Dr. King or Gandhi or some other character affiliated with a different religion or even in Christianity, Jordan, but if it wasn't Jesus himself, I don't think there would have been a problem.
This move is consistent with the notion that professors, by and large, now this is seeping down into community colleges, they seek to overthrow the Western tradition, and one way of doing that is by rejecting historical figures like Jesus.